Welcome back, grade 5s, to our division video series here. Last time we did some mental math strategies and the dividing by 1000s, tens, and hundreds. I hope you got those done. Those will really help you with what we're working on next here. So I'm going to do another about 2 or 3 pages here for you, again, so that way these videos don't get super long and you're not stopping and starting and stopping and starting. You can stop a video and then start a new one, and you don't listen to me for, a good 45 minutes. So mental division strategies here, the halving strategy. So this is basically dividing things by 2, dividing them in half. So when 2 numbers seem too large to work with in our heads, we can half them till we get to a division fact we recognize. Not only can we half them till we get to a division fact we recognize, but we can half them till we get a division fact that's on our multiplication chart. Both numbers must be even for this to work. Again, if they're odd, when I divide them in half, I get decimals, and we don't want that right now. So this will only work if both of the numbers are even. So please keep that in mind. All right, so here I have 126 divided by 14. Half of 126 is 63. Half of 14 is 7. My new equation is 63 divided by 7, which equals 9. So I can say that 126 divided by 14 equals 9. Now, if this one weren't on my multiplication chart, there would be no more halving I could do, because to half 63, you're going to get something like 31.5, and to half 7, you're going to get 3.5, and we don't want the decimals right now. That is going to come later, and I don't want you to worry about that right now. So we're going to practice our halving skills here. This is going to be a challenge for me too, because I'm going to try and do this without a calculator, but if you want to use a calculator, then go for it. That's why you got your Chromebook, so open up that calculator and give that a go. So the first one here is 32, and I'm going to remind myself here that this is dividing by 2. So 32 divided by 2 is 16. 56 divided by 2 is 28. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 84 divided by 2 is 42. And 96 divided by 2 is 48. Okay, actually, that wasn't too bad. For number 2 here. So we're going to have each number to get a recognizable division fact. The first one has been done for you, so I will do B for you, and then you can do C, D, and E by yourself. But let's go over A for starters. So 112 divided by 14, well, half of 112 is 56, and half of 14 is 7. So I want you to note again here that even though 56 is even and I could half it one more time, I could not half 7 one more time. 56 would be really easy. It would give me 28, but 7 would give me 3.5, and that's just not going to help me out. So 56 divided by 7 equals 8, which means for me that 112 divided by 14 also equals 8. Okay. So 144 divided by 16, 144, I'm going to half and put that here, and 144 divided by 2 would be 72, and 16 divided in half is 8. Now this one should show up on your multiplication chart. 72 divided by 8 is 9. So then I also know that 144 divided by 16 equals 9. You don't have to write this in the other column, but it might be helpful for you, or it might just be good practice. Your call. Now for number 3, again, the first one has been done for you. I will help you with B. Your job is C, D, E, and F. So we are going to start here. I have 90 divided by 18. Half of 90 is 45, and half of 18 is 9. I know that 45 divided by 9 is 5. That one's easy. It's a 5, or so I can count by 5s, or I can look at that multiplication chart again. Always handy to have. So then I'm going to draw a line there and a line up to that. So next I'm going to look at 64 divided by 16. Well, I know that 64 divided by 2 is 32, and I know that 16 divided by 2 is 8. So that is obviously this guy down here. I'm going to draw a nice little line down here. And 32 divided by 8 is 4. And I'm going to join it on up over here. So by the end of this, you should have a mix of lines. Some of them will go up, some of them will go down. However you want to see that go. But I now know that 64 divided by 16 is 4. All right, we're going to keep up on that halving strategy. This is a good strategy to practice, actually, and it's kind of an easy one to do in your head, which is really helpful. So sometimes we need to keep halving until we reach an easy division fact. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes you won't be able to keep halving it because you end up with an odd number. But in this case, you do get to keep halving it, so keep going until you find a nice, easy division fact to go for. So 136 divided by, or 144 divided by 36. That's a scary one. So 144 divided by 2 gives me 72, and 36 divided by 2 gives me 18. Now 72 divided by 18, still probably not going to show up in that multiplication chart of mine, and still kind of a not so nice division fact to try and do. So I'm going to try and half it again. Now again, this only works if these two numbers are even. Okay? If one of these had ended up being an odd number, this would not be possible. So 72 divided by 2 gives me 36, and 18 divided by 2 gives me 9. Now 36 divided by 9 is a much easier equation to do. It should show up on that multiplication chart of mine, and if I know my 9 times tables really well, then it's pretty easy for me to do. So, to do in my head. So 36 divided by 9 equals 4. So we're going to keep halving until we get a fact we can work with. If you can do it in your head, just fill in the last box. Otherwise, we're going to use the lines to help me. So if you look at one of these, like let's say 216 divided by 36, and you're just like, oh, I got that, then just go ahead and fill it in. And if halving it once works for you, then that's great too. But I'm going to show you how to half it all the way down, both times, just to get to the end there. So 216 divided by 2 would be 108, and 36 divided by 2, I'm going to cheat and go up here, is 18. Now 108 divided by 18 is still not a very nice division fact to try and do in my head. So I'm going to half it one more time. So this should be 54, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So now 54 divided by 9 would show up on my multiplication chart, or again, if you've got your 9 times tables just rearing in the back of your head, then you should really be able to do this one just straight off the bat in your head there. So 54 divided by 9 is 6, if I'm right. Yes, it is 6. Always gonna check the work there. So same thing happens here for 196 divided by 28. If you divide that in half and you just know that exactly how that's gonna work out, then you can skip this step and go right to the answer. But it might be good practice to half it one more time just so you get the hang of this and it becomes a little bit easier for you. So this one is going to be a little bit messier. For 5 is draw lines to connect numbers that could be doubled or halved to represent each other. Or to reach each other, sorry, not represent. So 48, I'm going to look at 48. Well, I know that 24 plus 24 is 48. So I'm going to see, do I have 24 on here anywhere? I do not. Okay. But I also know that 48 plus 48 is 96. So I'm going to draw a nice little maze here and attach it to my 56. Now I'm going to go down to 20 because I do see somewhere on here 40. So I'm going to go, oh look, I can half 40 to get 20, but I can also half 20 to get 10. So it connects to both of those. 25, I know I can double 25 to get 50. I can't half 25 though because 25 is odd. Then I know I can double 50 to get 100. And I don't know if 200 is on here, but I know I could double 100 to get to 200. So see what kind of connections you can make. And just, it'll probably look a little bit messy, but see what you can make, and this will just help you with, again, that halving and figuring out what some of those halves are. So number 6 is work with a partner to solve this problem. You can work with a brother or sister, you can work with someone else in your family if you want to, or go ahead and try this on your own. So we have an after-school job at the local garden center, planting seeds in flower pots. And today you have to evenly share 288 seeds among 48 flower pots. How many seeds will you put in each flower pot? So I'm going to give you the starting equation here. The halving job is going to be yours. So I have 288 seeds, and I need to divide them into 48 flower pots. My answer is going to be how many seeds are in each flower pot. So I'm going to give you the task of halving these, and I don't know, maybe halving them again, so you can get an equation that is easier for you to do, and you can tell me how many seeds are going to go into each pot. All right, so kind of like this, like that halving strategy, we've got the split strategy here. So division problems become easier if you split the number to be divided into recognizable facts. So if I look at the problem of 144 divided by 9, can I divide 144 into two multiples of 9? Now, I wouldn't really use divide here because divide kind of tells me that I'm splitting it into equal groups. And in this case, you are not splitting it into equal groups. If you look over here, they've split 144 into 90 and 56. Now, that is dividing, but it kind of isn't, because really dividing is trying to put it into as equal groups as you can. So basically, I've split 144 into two numbers that are easily divisible by 9. So we can divide it into 54 and 90, or split. I like split better. We can split it into 54 and 90, and these are both easily divided by 9. Then we add the two answers together. Okay, so this one involves a few more steps, but it might be that it might just be the strategy that clicks the most for you, and it might be the one that you find the easiest. So if this one clicks really well for you, then great. So showing you this one here, 144, I divided it into I split it into 90 and into 54. So just going back, 90 plus 54, if I added them together, I'm going to get 144. That's how they've done this. Now, 90 divided by 9 is pretty easy. That's 10. And 54 divided by 9, if you were paying attention on the last page, is 6. And now I'm going to add those two together to get 16. So with all these steps, now I know that 144 divided by 9 equals 16. Okay? So we're going to use the split strategy to divide these numbers, and we're going to use the clues to guide you. So they have filled in some of the blanks for you to kind of help you out there. But I'm going to go through the first two with you because this is a little bit of a more intensive strategy. There's more steps to it. So I'd like to go over it a couple times with you guys. So they've split 112 into 80 and 32. So again, just to show, 80 plus 32, 0, 2, 8 plus 3 is 11. I get 112. Okay, so that's how they've done this. 80 divided by 8, again, that's pretty easy. That's 10. It's really nice when it's one of those ones that's divisible by 10. And 32 divided by 8 is 4. So now I will add that 10 and that 4 together, and I will get 14. And then just to write it out here, again, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to. 112 divided by 8 equals 14. Okay. So for this one here, the second one, like I said, they've given you some clues here to help you out. They've given you that the answer, so this is something divided by 5, which will give you 7. And they've already told you that one of the answers here is 50. So if you don't, you could multiply these two together to get your answer, which would be 35. Or what you could do is come over here and go 85 minus 50. 5 minus 0 is 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. Oh, hey, it's 35. Okay? So a couple ways to figure that out. There is not any of these where they don't give you at least one number, so that will be helpful. If you were doing this on a test for me or something maybe next year, you might need to figure out both the numbers on your own, but just for the practice of the strategy right now, because we're not really going to be doing many more tests for the rest of the year if this keeps up, they're giving you at least one of them, so that will be very helpful, and hopefully you can you can just do this division or subtraction and figure out what the other number is. So 50 divided by 5, said it's one of those nice round 10s divisible by 10. So the answer is 10. And 35 divided by 5, it gave me the answer here is 7. I add these two together, I get 17. I now know that 85 divided by 5 equals 17. Now, again, writing out the actual equation here at the bottom is optional. That's just something I'm doing to show you the answer. You don't have to do that here for this. Now, on the bottom, this is just another way that they've shown how to do this. So instead of doing it vertically, they're doing it horizontally. So basically, they've divided 90. Now, I want to show you that this is a division of 90, or a split of 90, not of 6. The way they have this written out kind of looks like maybe they've split up the 6. They haven't. They've split up the number 90. Okay, so they're splitting up the higher number, the bigger number. So they split it into 60 and 30, which I'm dividing by 6. So 60 divided by 6 is 10. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And then I'm going to add those two together, and I get 15. And I'm going to write it out here for you just so you can see. But 90 divided by 6 equals 15. Okay? So again, I'm going to just try to show you again here that they've divided 105 into 70 and something. They've divided 72 into 24 and something. And they've divided 144 into 96 and something. Your job is to figure out what that something is. Like I said, 144 minus 96, you'll have the answer right away. I don't like how they've set this up because, like I said, it looks like they're dividing up the 7 when really they're not. But if that way really speaks to you and you like how that is set up, then good job. Then go for it and you can use that strategy. I personally prefer this one because I can see that they've divided up the 112 and the 64 instead of the smaller number, but that's just me. All right, on to the next page. Now, this page you don't really have to do. You can fill it in. I've done it already for you on the website, so you can fill it in. This is just a way to show you some divisibility rules and ways to test if the number will divide evenly. So obviously any number will divide, but you would have a remainder, which we'll get into later. But this is a way to tell if the numbers divide evenly. So for example, well, for starters, 1 is not on here, but any number divided by 1 is just the number. So it's pretty easy to do. Any number can be divided by 1. If you want to divide it by 2, the number will be divisible by 2 if it is even. So if it ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay. So is 458 divisible by 2? Yes, it ends in an 8. Even number. 3, a number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So this way you've got to take all these numbers, add them together, and then find out if that answer is divisible by 3. So 7 plus 2 plus 8 plus 1 is 18. Is 18 divisible by 3? Yes, the answer is 6. So 7,281 is divisible by 3. You don't need to find out the answer for me, you just need to find out if it's divisible or not, which again, I said I've already done for you. So for number 4, a number is divisible by 4 if the number made by the last two digits is divisible by 4. So for this one, you only need to focus on these last two digits. So for this one, the two digits in question are 12. Is 12 divisible by 4? Yes, it is 3. So this one is a big fat yes. Okay? 5. A number is divisible by 5 if it ends in a 0 or a 5. So again, I'm going to look at this last number here. Is that a 0 or a 5? Yes, it is. So yes, this number is divisible by 5. 455 is divisible by 5. You will notice that it skips right along to 8. So there isn't really a nice clean divisibility rule for 6 or 7. Those would be ones you'd have to test on your own, but that's okay. It's really good to have them for as many numbers as we can, and sometimes it doesn't work. So a number is divisible by 8 if the last 3 digits are divisible by 8. So for 4, it was the last 2. For 8, it's the last 3. So for this, I want to focus on 160. Now, 160 is in fact divisible by 8. I'm going to go show you the halving strategy again, and we're going to figure that one out. So 160 divided by 2 is 80. And if I divide my 8 by 2, So is 80 divisible by 4? Well, that's still a little bit of a hard one, so let's half it one more time. And I'm going to go with 40 and 2. And do they work? Yes, they do. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So 160 divided by 8 is also 20. Yay! Yes, that number would be divisible by 8. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits are divisible by 9. So this is the same strategy you've got going on for number 3. So 6 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. 6 plus 3 is 9. Plus 4 is 13. Plus 5 is 18. Is 18 divisible by 9? Yes, it equals 2. Yay, this number is divisible by 9. And for number 10, if there's a 0 in the ones place. Pretty easy. So is 5,680 divisible by 10? Well, there's a 0 in the ones place. So I'm going to go with yes, sir, it is. All right. So that is that for this episode kind of thing of your math work. Next, we'll be working on different tests of divisibility again and practicing those up. But hopefully you'll get through these worksheets first and finish those up before you move on to the next video. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you later.